The plea in the void. The stars of the Orion arm were dying, not from age, but from conquest. The Zarketh swarm had no diplomats, no demands, no negotiations. Where their ships appeared, civilizations vanished. Planets became husks. Their arrival brought silence, and their passing left nothing but ash. In the grand spire of Varellin Prime, the remaining ambassadors of the Galactic Concord gathered beneath a dimmed star. The chamber, once alive with songs and scent and the hum of peaceful discourse, now echoed with cold desperation. Ambassador Kelron of the Alari, a tall reptilian being cloaked in ceremonial silks now tattered with age and war, stood at the center. His scales had dulled. His voice no longer trembled from reverence, but from fatigue. The fourth and fifth arms have fallen. The Macthel Confederacy is gone, he said quietly. There are no more fleets, no more walls. The swarm will be here within months. Murmurs spread among the delegates, some with chittering antennae, some with eyeless faces, some with translucent skin pulsing with fear. We must surrender, said High Speaker Luma of the Valari. Perhaps, if we submit, they will spare what is left of us. Kelron slammed a clawed hand onto the holodable. They do not spare. You know this. The Zarketh understand only hunger. There is no diplomacy with devourers. A younger envoy, a crystalline being named Jeshtar, spoke from the edge. Then we must ask for help. Send the last plea. Somewhere, out there, someone must hear us. There was silence. Kelron turned slowly. To where, Jeshtar? Every known empire is shattered. Every signal unanswered. We have sent beacons to the nearest spiral arms. Nothing returns. Jeshtar's form pulsed dimly. Then we send it to the unknown. Kelron closed his eyes, a long breath hissing between his fangs. The idea was foolish, desperate, yet no more foolish than waiting to die. He looked to the ancient console embedded in the center of the chamber, a relic from a time before memory, a subspace transmission array capable of speaking across sectors not yet mapped. The 8th channel, a last resort protocol for civilizations on the brink. We will craft one final message, Kelron said. We will send it beyond the stars, to the dark between arms, to dead systems and ancient suns. He looked up, locking eyes with each of them. And if something hears US, may it have the strength we lack. Transmission excerpt, the last plea. To any who hear this, we are the last spark in a dying galaxy. The Zarketh have devoured our worlds. Our skies burn. Our hope fades. We are not warriors. We are builders, thinkers, dreamers. We sought peace, but peace has failed. If you're out there, if your heart still no courage, come. Come not for reward, but for justice, for vengeance, for survival. Please, answer our call. The beacon activated. A golden pulse surged from Varellin Prime, threading through the wormhole lattice, disappearing into uncharted space, toward an insignificant yellow star with 8 planets orbiting it. Kelron watched as the signal vanished from view. We have done all we can, he said, barely more than a whisper. Behind him, the war room dimmed as another star system went dark on the map, snuffed out by the advancing tide of red. The Concord's last defenders prepared for the end. They believed no one would come. And far, far away, on a pale blue world orbiting Sol, a deep space listening post blinked to life for the first time in decades. Earth hears the call. The Antarctic skies were clear, the stars sharp against the night, as Outpost Thule ran its automated diagnostics. Buried beneath kilometers of ice and rock, the station had once been Earth's pride, a beacon for detecting extrasolar signals. But for decades, it had grown quiet, mostly forgotten. Until now, 319 Universal Time, coordinated, signal detected, unknown origin, non-random, directed, 320 Universal Time, coordinated, linguistic pattern forming. Urgency, extreme. The system pinged once, twice, then forcefully triggered the override protocol. Human verification required. Lieutenant Mira Chun, half awake and clutching a cup of stale coffee, stared at the screen. The message pulsed across her display like a heartbeat. To any who hear this, her breath caught. The voice wasn't human. Smooth, guttural, harmonized across multiple tones. But the words, it was speaking in English. Somehow, the AI translation engine had interpreted it as if the message already knew how to be understood. By 6 o'clock Universal Time Coordinated, the message had reached the United Nations Space Defense Command, UNSDC, in Geneva. By 8 o'clock, a meeting was called. In the Grand Chamber beneath the Geneva complex, representatives from Earth's 6 major continental blocks sat behind glass displays. At the head stood Admiral Sahir El-Farouk, Supreme Commander of UNSDC, and beside him, Captain Alina Reyes, veteran of the Europa conflict and the first human officer to lead Earth's off-world combat fleet. The room buzzed with tension. "This could be a hoax," muttered the Eurasian bloc chair. Alina didn't flinch. "It's not." The room turned to her. "I've spent my life studying tactical patterns, comm structures, threat escalation behavior," she said. "What we're looking at is real. This isn't a prank. This is a distress call." She tapped the holopad. The message played again. "Come not for reward, but for justice." When it ended, silence returned, until Admiral El-Farouk spoke. "Earth has not fought a war in over 50 years, he said. "Our fleets are small. Our colonies limited. We have no formal first contact protocols. If we engage, we do so blind. And yet," said Alina, "we're the only ones who heard them. We cannot unhear it." One of the envoys, an older diplomat from the South American Union, leaned forward. "What are we to gain from this? This isn't our war." Alina's eyes flashed. "What did we gain from Normandy? From Sarajevo? From the Belt riots? What do we gain every time we choose to stand, even when it isn't easy?" No one answered. Then the Pacific Coalition chair leaned in. "How many volunteered?" 5,000 in the first 12 hours, Alina said. "Pilots, Marines, engineers, veterans, most under 30. The room went still. "So," said Admiral El-Farouk at last, "we go." The order spread like fire. Across Earth's orbital docks, warships long mothballed were awakened. The UNS Dauntless, UNS Kusanagi, and UNS Hammerfall were prepped for deep space transit. Not the sleek, elegant vessels seen in science fiction, but heavy, scarred, armored beasts designed by warriors for war. Each ship carried a Spartan Lance team. Elite soldiers trained for off-world engagement. Kinetics over plasma. Camouflage over ceremony. Grit over glory. At the new Nairobi Forward Command, the soldiers of Lance Team Vega loaded up, double-checking their exosuits. Among them was Sergeant Mason Clark, call sign Bones, an earthborn bruiser with a grin that never quite reached his eyes. "You think this is real?" one of the rookies asked, tightening his railgun harness. Bones grinned. "Doesn't matter. We got called, so we answer." At dawn, the fleet launched. Families watched from every continent as the ships climbed past Earth's atmosphere and vanished into the dark. The moment was broadcast live. Billions watched. Not a parade, not a battle, just a launch. A choice. On the bridge of the UNS Dauntless, Alina Reyes stood at the viewport, watching Earth shrink to a blue speck. The beacon for Varellon Prime had included coordinates, a collapsing stronghold near the galactic rim. It would take 8 days in jump space to reach it. 8 days to prepare for a war against an enemy they didn't understand. But Alina wasn't afraid. She had seen humanity at its worst. She had seen what they became when backed into corners. They weren't the most advanced, not the most peaceful, not the wisest. But when the call came, they answered, and they came ready to fight. Arrival at the brink. Jump space folded around the UNS Dauntless, a hum vibrating deep in the bones of every crew member. Stars stretched into spears of light, then collapsed. When the distortion ended, Earth's fleet emerged into a battlefield. They had arrived at their Axis Prime. It was worse than expected. The planet was ringed by flame and debris. Dozens of shattered Concorde vessels drifted silently in orbit, their hulls scarred and venting gas. The orbital defense stations had long gone dark. Down below, the once green world burned in patches, massive swarms blackening the skies like smoke. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the forward viewport. "My God," Sensor alarms flared. Zarketh bioships, organic, insect-like the size of city blocks, were converging on the planet in coordinated waves. UNSDC command. Captain Reyes, we're detecting survivors. Concord remnants holding a fortress line near the northern pole. They won't last long. Alina turned. Then we land now. The human fleet moved fast, blunt, angular ships breaking formation and dropping atmosphere pods like falling stars. Hundreds of drop pods punched through the burning skies of their Axis Prime, each carrying a Spartan lance team into the hell below. Sergeant Mason Bones, Clark clenched his jaw as his pod rattled around him. The screen showed streaks of flame, Zarketh flyers swirling in the upper atmosphere like hornets. Over comms, he heard Reyes, primary objective, reinforce the Concord lines. Secondary, establish kill zone. Show them what Earth does when it answers a call. Bones smiled. Oh, they're about to find out. They hit dirt hard. Bones' pod cracked open on impact, launching him into a storm of ash and fire. The Zarketh were everywhere, six-legged beasts with razor mandibles and acid-tipped limbs. He didn't hesitate. Kinetic rifle up. 3-round bursts. Heads exploding into black mist. His team followed close. Plasma zipped past their armor, but they moved like demons, fast, tactical, coordinated. Unlike the Concord defenders, who fought like prey scrambling for survival, Earth's warriors pushed forward, hunting. They found the remnants of the Concord line, a cluster of glowing energy shields failing under pressure. Behind them, a group of terrified aliens barely holding rifles. Bones jumped into cover beside a feathered alien officer with 4 eyes wide in disbelief. "Oh, who are you?" the alien stammered. Bones grinned as he sighted another bug. "Cavalry." From orbit, Captain Reyes watched the real-time data feed stream in. Lance Teams Vega, Orion, and Krakatoa had all landed and were punching holes in the swarm's forward units. But it wasn't just their effectiveness that shocked her. It was the impact. Concord reinforcements, emboldened by humanity's arrival, were rallying. Shields rose again. Heavy artillery began firing in sync with Earth's targeting data. For the first time in months, the swarm's advance slowed. The Concord Command Council sent a direct message to the Dauntless. Kelron himself appeared on the main screen, his face tired but alight with something unfamiliar. Hope. "You came," he said simply. Alina nodded. "We're not the biggest, not the most advanced, but we fight like hell. That's usually enough." Kelron blinked. "I don't understand. You came for us, for strangers. Why?" Alina's face was hard. "Because someone had to." By nightfall, the northern hemisphere was secure. The swarm had been pushed back. Hundreds of their warriors lay charred in the trenches. Drones scuttled away into the shadows of the mountains. In the aftermath, human engineers deployed automated turrets, medical stations, and radar shields. The Concord watched in awe as Earth forces coordinated a full tactical recovery, building an entire forward base in less than a day. Bones sat on a crate, helmet off, sipping nutrient paste from a pouch as alien children peeked out from the rubble nearby. One of them stepped forward, tentative, pale blue, only waist-high. "You fight monsters," the child said. Bones nodded. "Yep." The child looked up. "Are you monsters too?" Bones chuckled softly, staring into the smoke rising from a field. "Sometimes," he said, "but we fight the right ones." Back aboard the Dauntless, Reyes reviewed the data. The Zarketh weren't just attacking, they were probing, testing. And now, having faced something new, they were regrouping. That worried her, because this wasn't the full might of the swarm. Not yet. Deep in the black void, far from their Axis Prime, a Zarketh hive ship opened its maw and screamed across subspace. The Queen had received news. The prey had evolved, and now she would answer in kind. The war changes. It began with a whisper, then a roar. The Zarketh Queen's shriek rippled through the stars, summoning every hive across the known galaxy. The swarm, once a tide, became a tsunami. Dozens of hive fleets emerged from dark space, converging on the Concord's last systems. Worlds fell within hours. The humans' arrival had changed the game. Now, the swarm played for keeps. But Earth did not flinch. On Neuraxis Prime, the human forward base had transformed into a fortress. Concord engineers worked side by side with UNSDC personnel. Alien hands carried ammo to human turrets. Human medics treated alien wounded. Battle drills ran 20 hours a day. Captain Alina Reyes sat in the makeshift war room, surrounded by maps, heat signatures, and biosign feeds. The front line was expanding. What had been a defense had become a counteroffensive. "We hit them before they regroup," she said. "No more waiting. We hunt." The Concord generals hesitated. "You wish to go on the offensive?" Against that, she leaned in, eyes sharp. "You called for warriors. This is what we do." Human fleets launched across multiple systems. They struck like lightning, punching holes in swarm lines, disabling hive carriers, and retreating before retaliation. Their tactics were unorthodox, brutal, and terrifyingly effective. At Kale-Tier Station, orbital bombardment rained down as human soldiers carved through a breeding nest with flamethrowers and railguns. At Yulon's Reach, Earth's mechanized infantry, powered exosuits, nicknamed golems, smashed through a mountain tunnel and collapsed it on 3 Zarketh broods. Earth's legend spread. Children of pacifist worlds whispered about the Fire People. Soldiers called them Death Walkers. Where they walked, the swarm died. Sergeant Mason Bones, Clark, led his Lance team deep into a derelict swarm asteroid ship. His suit was scorched, his voice hoarse from yelling, but his aim never wavered. The team planted charges on the ship's nerve stem. As they retreated, Bones saw a clutch of fresh swarm larvae hissing in the shadows. He didn't hesitate. "I got this. You go." They argued. He shoved them toward the evac zone and turned back, flipping the last charge to manual. As the detonation swallowed the corridor, he whispered, "Monsters don't get to be born today." Word of the sacrifice reached every front. Concord morale surged. Soldiers of once broken species rallied beneath human command, learning not just how to fight, but why. Because Earth fought for more than survival. They fought for the ones who couldn't. The war turned. One by one, the swarm was driven back, cut off, contained, and finally cornered. At the galactic core, deep inside a dying star system, the final hive world stirred. Its crust was alive with pulsing flesh and black spires. The last nest of the Zarketh Queen. It was time to end it. The UNS Dauntless led the fleet. In orbit above the hive world, Earth's ships formed a wall. Behind them, Concord cruisers. In front, death. Alina stood on the command deck, her armor polished, her voice hard. "This is it," she said to her crew. "We finished this. Not just for Earth, not just for the Concord, but for every child the swarm would have devoured. For every world that burned." Across the fleet, soldiers strapped in. They knew the odds. No illusions. But not one hesitated. The final assault was apocalyptic. Drop pods rained fire. Swarm spires shattered. Hive guards, mutated and armored, met Earth's finest in hand-to-claw combat. Alina led from the front, her rifle hissing steam as she mowed down charging beasts. Even wounded, she kept moving. Her presence was a rallying cry. At the heart of the hive, they planted the G-bomb, a gravitational warhead designed to collapse the structure in on itself. Alina remained behind to activate it. Kelron's voice came through her comm. "Captain, you don't have to do this." "I do," she said, "because someone always has to." She triggered the bomb. The hive imploded. Zarketh's signals across the galaxy went silent. The war was over, and Earth had won. Epilogue. Years later, a monument stood on Neuraxis Prime, made of shattered hulls and carved alien stone. At its base, etched in every Concord language, were 6 words. They thought no one would come. And beneath it, but Earth did, children walked past statues of humans in battle armor, some carrying flowers, others listening to old broadcasts of the last plea. Earth had returned home, changed forever. But the galaxy would never forget, because when the stars cried out in despair, humanity answered,